Welcome back to a whole nother episode of People Believe That.
Huh?
I am your, oh man, I was about to say I am your boy.
Your boy. I'm your boy, Old Mixhead.
I am Old Mixhead.
It's your boy, Chief.
Today's episode, we're bringing back the series called Military Stories.
Hua?
Hua.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the Army thing.
That's the Army thing, Hua.
Hua.
What'd y'all say in the Navy?
Hoorah. No, sorry, hooyah.
Hooyah. See, you didn't even know.
I always confuse them. I was like, I don't know if I should say hoorah.
So what?
Hooyah.
Do you know where that stuff comes from?
Nope. Come from my chief is where it came from.
Yeah,
He told us to say
my
it.
drill sergeant. They said, say Hua. I said, Roger that.
Before we get started, I want to put out this information for everybody. This is a call to action. If you would like to be a guest on an episode of People Believe That, you can contact us on willboyspodcast@gmail.com. You can also contact us at Twitter or Facebook. Handle is THEWILLBOYS. If you want to look at some more of our stuff, you can find us on YouTube under the Will Boys. You can also download our episodes off of iTunes and Spreaker.com. SPREAKER.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are going to go ahead and get started with these. Actually, let's talk about what we're doing today. We're taking pictures today.
Yeah, man. You gave me the call last night and said, hey, be at my house
That's right.
at this exact time. And
what happened?
We both were asleep, I think.
First off, I contacted you earlier and I got no response. So I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So I kind of dozed back off and I get a FaceTime. Hey, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
and then he snaps my picture because I'm still in bed, one eye open.
Oh, yeah, I did take a picture, didn't you?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, so it is what it is, man. But yeah, man, the picture's gonna they look pretty cool to me, man.
Yeah, we're gonna be using those things for put out some more images out there, so you have more than what we have right now, which is really anything.
Right.
We want to expand. We want to get bigger. Want everybody that's listening to know who we are, to see what we look like. I don't know why you want to see what we look like. It's not a whole lot, but it's something.
It's something's there.
Something was there at one point. You can see the past potential that we used to have.
Past potential.
Future history.
Future history.
You can see the past potential that we once had at a point.
We're going to be doing some more solo projects coming up soon. You kind of had a solo project last week, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was interviewing everybody listening right now. If you would like to hear a bunch of teenagers and a 7-year-old talk about gun control, check out our previous episode entitled "Talking with the Youth," Girls Edition.
Right. That was very interesting, man. Like you gotta.
I think I did pretty good.
You
knowing me.
Yeah, you did a lot better than I thought.
I think I was pretty fair.
Yeah, because
I was ready.
You try to stay in the pocket,
Yeah, I didn't. One thing I don't want to do is whenever we have a guest. So everybody listen, if you want to be guests, understand this. I do not want to back somebody into a corner and try to make them look stupid.
Right.
One, because it's too easy sometimes. Two, because it's just not. I don't want to be that type of host, or I don't want to have that kind of show where I'm making people uncomfortable or anything.
Right.
So whatever they didn't know, I informed them on, and I asked them based on that opinion. And it's funny. Once I asked them a question initially, like, what do you think about the gun thing? And they had these already laid out ideas and thoughts. But then when I explained everything to them, they started to unwind a little bit and understand both sides of the argument. And they started flip-flopping a little bit.
Yeah. I can tell that they hadn't had a real conversation about some of these topics other than what they've heard. They talked to us on some levels, but it's just how it is with parents. Sometimes, kids don't open up completely or, they don't really want to dive too deep into certain topics or whatever. But what I did hear is a general concern of safety.
Yep.
They don't necessarily want everybody to get rid of their guns because they understand the reason for owning a firearm responsibly.
Right.
But there definitely was there's some other interesting things going on in those conversations.
There's a nice little rap in there about oatmeal.
Oatmeal rap. Hey, put some oats in, stir it up. Hey, just put some water in, pulp it up.
For everybody who did hear that episode, those 3 girls were Chief's daughters.
Yeah.
He was
3 of my daughters. Yes,
3 of his daughters. One of them was a stepdaughter, and he couldn't be here for that podcast, so we had to I had to switch it up and see what I can do, and we were able to get his 3 little girls on there, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, man, it wasn't bad, man. It was pretty cool. I wish the boys podcast that we tried to do.
Oh man,
we'll have to try to give them another shot. Maybe
we'll have to do a practice run.
Got to do something.
Yeah,
but they were way too cool, man. Like,
hey, what do you guys think about the music now? What do you think about music? I like music.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really listen to music.
What?
Well, what? So you don't listen to any music? I listen to gospel. Right, Dad? Right, Dad? I listen to God, Kirk Franklin.
I don't think it was like that, but it was close.
It was pretty accurate.
It was pretty close.
All right, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Military stories. Now, I'm going to start with one particular military story that I think you might find a little funny. It started with one of my shipmates. This was back in, 2008, 2009, maybe. Probably 2008. E6 that I was pretty cool with. A whole bunch of guys from the ship who went out for his birthday, and we ended up going to a strip club. And he's one of those types that he frequents these places. Like right. He would go to, I was stationed in San Diego. He would go to Tijuana a lot. Like he was known for going to Tijuana. Y'all
were allowed to go to Mexico?
Back then we were.
Right, because at some point
people kept going down and getting in trouble.
Right, then they made it to where you couldn't go, right?
Well, they made it to where you had to ask permission to go, and I think it got to a point where you just can't go at all. But back then you can go. Now, at the strip club, everything was cool. It was just, we're doing a strip club thing. And then one of our other friends, he went up to the manager, the owner, and asked, hey, it's his birthday. Can we get him on the stage and get him a dance on the stage? He said, well, how many is in your party? He's like 8 or 9 or however many there were. And he goes, if y'all pay $25 a head, then yeah, we'll get him on stage. So he came over and told us that. We're like, hell yeah, man. We just reached in our pockets, got 25. So this is my birthday present to you. So we gave him 25, and sure enough, he went up on stage, got his little lap dance. But the thing is, he got another lap dance afterwards in that little private area. Mm. So he comes back after about, I don't know how many songs, like 3 or 4. I don't know what the rate is nowadays or back in those days.
Right.
He comes back and he was like, man, she was so hot. I put my phone and my keys in my beer. He put his glass on the floor next to him, and he tried to put his stuff down. He put them inside of his beer because he wasn't paying attention.
That's dumb.
But to top that off, later on that night, I left before everybody else did. So later on that night, I found out that he had got a couple more lap dances. Mm-hmm. And one girl in particular, he got a lap dance from a few times. And later on, when they were leaving, they got into a taxi cab, and because it was dark, they couldn't see nothing. But when they got in the taxi cab, he was talking about his lap dance, and the girl was like grinding her backside all over on his chest, on his stomach, all over, like grinding hardcore, right?
Right.
Gets in the taxi, the light of the taxi comes on, on the inside. He looks down, there's a brown streak going down his shirt. Dude, we did not leave that alone.
That is. Where were y'all at?
I believe this was, I think, maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm combining stories. I think that might have happened overseas somewhere, but I'm pretty sure it happened in San Diego.
I don't know if it's worse or what, if it's overseas.
That's racist.
Well, no, it's places.
Doo-doo is doo-doo all over the world, all right?
Yeah, but I don't know. It is gross, bro. Like, regardless. Like, that's
we didn't let him get away with that for months.
What names did y'all come up with? I know you had.
No, we didn't. I didn't do names. I just kept bringing it up. Like, hey, man, remember that time we were at a strip club and that stripper put a streak down your shirt? He's like, shut up, man.
I don't know. I'd call him brown streak.
Yeah, we didn't. I'm sure there were names for him. I never called it.
That's horrible, bro.
That's pretty funny to me.
That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I can halfway piggyback off of that. I had a homeboy named Mike. We'll call him Mike.
All right, Mike.
Mike, right? And the whole time I was in the military, I never went out. I never went to clubs and all that type of stuff, like bars and all that. Like,
what a loser.
Nah, I was already like,
Nah.
you gotta remember like where I was coming from straight out of like the lifestyle I was living. That's all I did. So like I needed a break from that, you know.
So I joined the military.
And went to Killeen. And Killeen is so like, I mean, there's potential there, I guess, but it is very hood for the most part.
Yeah.
And my boy Mike hit me up, was like, hey Will, check this out, man. I need to drop off my card with you, my debit card. I'm going out tonight. I took out $100. That's all I'm spending. No matter what happens, if I call you, do not give me my card back, no matter what I say. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm like, look, bro, I'll hold your card for you. If you call me and you persist, and you persist, I'm going to give you your card.
Right.
Because you're a grown-ass man. Like, so sure enough, I get the call come 1:30 in the morning. Come on, bro, I need my card, man, you know. He's turned up, you know. He's trying to his last call or whatever. So I drive over there where the little club he's at. I drive over there, drop his little card off to him. And I got an earful the next day, bro. Like, hey, why you let me spend? I spent like $40, man. I was like,
where was he at? Where'd he spend it at?
Some club, man. Like, I don't know, whatever the hottest spot was that night.
Showing everybody how much money you used to have.
Yeah. Turned up, just feeling like too good.
That's one thing I always preach to the younger recruits as they were going through boot camp. You know, I was like, you guys got to be responsible with your money. This is your opportunity because you got all these options. You can save, you can put in a trust, you put in a fund or TSP, blah, 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 blah. And some kids just didn't understand what I was saying.
Right.
I was like, look, man, you know, how many people got kids? Some people raise their hand. How many of y'all have ever lived check by check? Some people raise their hand and say, it's pretty scary, isn't it? Like, yeah. Now, living by yourself is hard enough, and now you got a little mouth to feed, and, you know, if the mom's there, you know, or, you know, whatever the situation is. So, like, you got the opportunity right now, man, save your money. But some people just, you know, they never had money before, so now they got it.
It was really hard for a lot of dudes in my unit to do that because we were deploying a lot. And,
die.
The dudes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, the dudes I was with was 2-3 deployments in, and each time they went, it got worse. So, they just was, you know, like for me, for instance, like I think I've said this before, but when I was overseas, like I did not save any money, and I didn't exactly ask my wife to either because I was like, well, I'm probably gonna die, so have fun, like spend however you want, spend that money, honey. I ain't gonna be there, but you know, come the end of the year. In deployment, I'm heading back. I'm like, so it turns out I didn't die.
Yeah. Turns out I lived through all that.
Yeah. So
somewhat.
Yeah. So that money, the money in the military, man. You know, you got to take out loans. You got to ask permission to take out loans. It's crazy, bro.
Did you ever? Did you or your guys ever like have these little? I don't want to say friendly fights, but like these ongoing battles.
What do you mean?
Like you just call somebody into space and then everybody jumps them, but it's all for fun and nobody really gets hurt.
Not really.
We had this thing called birthing wars.
Called what?
Birthing. That's where everybody sleeps. That's where that's like the rooms where the beds are. It's called birthing.
Right.
On a ship. So on my first ship, we had 3 birthing areas. Birthing 1, 2, and 3. Whenever, I don't want to say whenever, but late at night, when the red lights come on and we see somebody from another birthing come in there, we would not be happy. And we would kind of like, hey, what you doing? Man, I'm trying to go to the head, man. I'm trying to go to the head. Huh?
Really?
Is your rack in here? No, man. I'm just it's on right then and there. Like we, you know, it wasn't like trying to hurt them.
Right.
You know, we go down to their berth and take their toilet paper. They go up to ours and take our.
No, I got you. We did stuff like that during basic training.
Really?
Yeah. Ooh. Like we were.
Must be kind of loose.
No.
Regulations were a little loose in the Army boot camp.
No, they just put the wrong person in charge. I was running like a prison. Like,
that was you?
Yeah.
And you allowed that to happen? Man.
Certain things, man. Not everything. I ran a tight ship, if you will. But you know, like they put me in. It was weird, man. Like for some reason, everywhere I've been in my life, and every time I go somewhere, like whoever's in charge usually grabs me and puts me in charge of something quick.
Right.
Something like I remember my recruiter actually looking at me and saying, "Ooh, something about your eyes. Yeah, you gonna be in combat arms." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I can see it in you." I'm like, "You devil." Yeah. But you know, like basic training. Like once they put me in a PG position, which is a platoon guide, the platoon guide basically is in charge of the your platoon while the drill sergeant's away. You know, the drill sergeant needs to put out information to everybody. Instead of him going to everybody individually, he comes to you, and you put the information out there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there would be these times where we'd have to do these. Did I talk about the times we had to do inspections on the last one before?
Inspections,
like inspections in our bays.
I don't care about that.
Well, here's the thing, right? We were doing inspections inside the bays where our platoon is, right? Mm-hmm. So the drill sergeant would have me go, he would go through their lockers and under their beds and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But he would make me grab a chair and go up into the small spaces that were in the attic or in the roof above them. Yeah. You can push the ceiling panels up. So I would go, I knew where everybody's stuff was at already. So I'd go up there and I'd feel around. And I can kind of halfway feel stuff sometimes. Right. And as I'm looking down at whoever's stuff it is, and I could tell because they looking over at me. And I'm like, as soon as this is over, we gonna have a talk. So sure enough, man, the people was coming paying me off and like dip and like.
You dipped?
Yeah, I dipped. I dipped tough when I was in the Army, bro. Like, dip
that
and
is
chew.
You didn't swallow the spit, did you?
No.
There are people that actually did that.
I have standards. No, I know there's guys.
That is disgusting.
I know guys that like were that deep into it where they could swallow it. If I swallowed it, it was a wrap, dog. It was hiccups and throw up and burps.
It got so bad to the point where if people were carrying around a bottle, they had to duct tape it so people couldn't see it.
Oh yeah. Well, like the thing with us was we were in field artillery. So in field artillery, when you work on cannons, there's gunpowder, around. Mm-hmm. So
can't smoke. Got it.
Right. So
what if you had a little e-cig? What about electronic cigarettes?
Well, even the problem with electronic cigarettes is when you're in the field, there's nowhere to charge them. Okay. Obviously now we know you can get solar chargers and all this other stuff like that, but they wouldn't let us bring that stuff anyway. So, they just dipped, and my homeboy put me on it when I was in basic training. But yeah, man, I'd be sitting there and like we ran it like it was like after hours, like when the drill sergeant would leave, we had two people sitting in the front doing fire watch. Y'all have fire watch?
Fire guard. Explain what that is.
Fire guard is two people have to stay awake.
We had watch. Yeah, we had.
Right, two people have to stay awake every hour. They switch off.
Right. It was every 2 hours for us.
It was every hour for us. So they switch off, and whoever's awake is supposed to do a head count. Every however many minutes, and make sure if a fire breaks out or something, someone's awake to wake everybody else up. Right. I guess somewhere in the past, people died. Yeah. But so after hours, like fire watch detail, I was getting paid in the shade for like certain hours. Like the best hours were like right after, like the first hour, like from 7 to 8, right? At nighttime, because you're still awake. So it's not really a shift, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, but the worst hour is like an hour before you have to wake up or 2 hours before you have to wake up because you only have a little bit of time to, you have to wake up early. It sucks. So whoever's been giving me the most problems gets the worst hours. But other people coming up to me, hey, Will, they hand me stuff, a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. We even had a couple of guys that were like, I don't know if they were rednecks or not, but they were definitely like some hillbilly type dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like if you saw them in a movie, they'd be the dudes that are like standing in the background with dip hanging, like coming out the side of their mouth, and they're like, yeah, that's him, Paul. Dudes like that, right? These dudes were crafty though.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. These dudes was taking orders and leaving like thieves in the night.
What do you mean taking orders?
Like they go,
like they would get the
they go to liquor stores and like go get dip and all this paraphernalia stuff that we wasn't allowed to get. Like they was going off post,
what,
and coming back with stuff and like sneaking it in.
They never got caught?
No, like we was good. With me like in charge of like keeping who's on watch. So we had people who's on watch there in our bay, and then we have someone on watch downstairs. So you have to know who's on watch downstairs too. You just pay them off. You just give them whatever they just look the other way. So we was like,
did you have a watch station at the entrance and exit of the building?
Yeah. So everybody had it was like a operation, bro. Like once the other platoons and the other bays kind of like once they started loosening up, because at first it was super competitive. It was always us versus them. It was always like, y'all come over here, we're gonna get y'all. See, I guess I'm thinking about it now. We did have that type of rivalry, and at first it was very violent. It was on some
my hood, your hood type thing.
Yeah, it was like
So that was the biggest circle to you just saying yes, we had that.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, we did that.
No, but yeah, man. So we would have dudes run out, go get stuff, come back, and at the end of the day, like it was like the lights were all off, so you just see like flashlights around everywhere or whatever, and we would put towels up over the windows, so downstairs you couldn't see that there were towels up, but you also couldn't see any lights that were moving around inside. And it was just like a little lounge after work, man. Like people were just kind of sitting around.
They never had a person stay behind and make sure y'all ain't messing around?
Well, here's the thing. Like the drill sergeants, they want to go home after work.
Well, we still had somebody that had to stay there.
Well, yeah, we had people downstairs, but that's what I'm saying. Like some nights we were able to do it. Some nights we couldn't. It wasn't like every night we were just up having to kick it. Like it was just certain nights we everything wasn't aligned. And we would just have kick it nights, like,
So everybody listening, listen up. If you want to get drunk in boot camp, join the Army. Their standards of security is laxed.
Yeah, I don't know how it is now. I'm just saying, at that time where I was at, that's the type of stuff that was going on, and I didn't start that stuff.
Yeah,
I was cool with drill sergeants too, though. Like the drill sergeants would call me into the office, right? And if my buddies are listening, they're going to be pissed. Oh, well, deal with it. The drill sergeants would call me into the office, and this one drill sergeant we had, his nickname was the Devil, because he was like, there's always one guy that's like harder than everybody else for no reason at all.
Yeah.
He would call me into the office, but he was the coolest one. Like he was like really the coolest dude.
He's probably nominated to be the hard guy.
Yeah, probably. But he would call me to the office. And he'd be like, Williams, office. Move drill sergeant. So I'll run up in there. And he'd close the door. He'd like slam the door behind me. And I'd just be in there for like an hour. And then I'd come out drenched in sweat. Pause. And
No, let's go back into what
I will.
Yeah.
But then I had to go then I go run up to everybody toe the line. So everybody, stands up, go gets at parade rest or whatever. And I'm walking out, look, y'all, they're not playing, man. They smoked me for an hour. Now being smoked means
I get you.
Physical
exercise
is punishment, right? Or a corrective training, not punishment, because that would be wrong. So corrective training. So you smoked me for an hour. And I go back out there telling them, look, we got to tighten up on the bathrooms. We got to tighten up on this. We got to make sure we're in formations on time. Like, they coming through tomorrow and they finna do this. They're going to go through our lockers if y'all got it. So all this stuff, right? But the truth is what was really going on behind the doors, he'd call me in there and he would really just be sitting there and asking me questions about everybody that's in there. Like, how they doing? Like, how's this dude doing? How's his mother doing? Like, I know his mother's sick. Stuff like that. The drill sergeants were getting they're asking me like questions about the mental health, the status of all the dudes that was in there.
Right.
So they knew how to handle them outside of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then after that, he would like show me what was going on in the world. He'd show me like music, what's coming out, what's new, like videos. Hey man, check this song out, man. This shit was dope. I heard it on the way up here. He's a white dude too. So he's playing like all the new music, all whatever, And then he was like, all right, man, go in the bathroom over there, splash some water on you. You know what I'm saying?
Make it visible.
Do a couple push-ups real quick. Run out there and tell them, whatever. So that's how we got down, man. Like, it was real psychological. Like, when they did that to me in basic, I couldn't take the real Army serious because I knew, like, this is what it's really going to be like. And that's really what it was like. It was just a bunch of schemes.
Boot camp was probably the most military it has ever been since I've been in the military.
The most military was the 2 weeks in the beginning of boot camp.
Yeah, it was it was a whole 8, where was I in there? For 8 weeks? 7, 8 weeks?
No, I'm saying the first 2 weeks was the most.
Nah, that was just annoying. The rest of the time, it was really, scheduled, organized, and
I say the first 2 weeks because that's when you're getting your uniforms. That's when you're seeing all the. Remember we talked about this before, like the whole, just the experience of just seeing the whole, all the people running and the formations, just the whole organization. It's like,
well, you see, it probably wasn't for me because I did ROTC before, so I knew marching.
Well, I did too shortly.
You did I think you did like a year.
Yeah, so I got it. But even then, I was, like I said, like every time I get put in like some type of organization like that, I was already like one of the squad leaders, and I was supposed to become whoever was in the front. I don't know what the ROTC name is for the PG or whatever, but I was supposed to be that. But I got in so many fights, I accidentally like punched the major and whoever the guy was. He was an Air Force guy anyway, so who cares? He was an Air Force guy. He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I never was given a job in boot camp. I wasn't complaining. I didn't want one, but when they saw my background that I had done 4 years of junior ROTC in high school, it was the Air Force ROTC, that I knew how to march and I knew how to yell commands and I knew how to do all the stuff. I knew left face, right face, about face, all that stuff, and how to salute and by the numbers and all that stuff. I knew all that stuff, and a lot of people didn't, and I wasn't given a job, and I was always wondering, like, how come they didn't pick me? I mean, I didn't care. Like I said, I didn't want one.
But it is still something that sticks out,
But I think what it was because I had already done so many amount of years prior to. I was going into the Navy as an E3.
Right.
I didn't have started.
I did too. I went as an E3.
Right. So
I didn't. I don't know how.
Did you? Well,
I had a
was
really
it because of that position you had?
What position?
In your boot camp.
No. I was E3 before, like, going into that.
How the hell did you do that?
I had a really good recruiter. He knew how to work this.
He probably cooked the books.
Yeah.
Man.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
join the Army. You're going as E3.
It ain't just that. I'm telling you, man, like, going into it.
Honor, courage, commitment, my backside.
Like, they had to fill out, what are those things called? Waivers.
Yeah. For
me to get in because of my criminal background, right? And they had to make me sign paperwork on certain stuff that I was charged. Certain things weren't even like cases; they were just things I was charged for,
right? That
I didn't even know about. But once you go in there and give your fingerprints to the FBI, everything comes up. Mm-hmm. They had like all my nicknames. It was like Terrence Williams, aka this, aka that, aka Chief, aka. I'm not gonna say I'm aliases that they had on there, but they. They had them on there, though.
Go to Spreaker.com and those names will be posted.
Right. No. Yeah. So all those on there, man. But it's just like the whole seeing how they pencil whip a lot of my paperwork. Mm-hmm. Like people that were high ranking, they didn't know me. They just wanted the numbers. Like when I started seeing stuff like that, it started like, okay, this
the mystical army or military.
Yeah, it started making it
became more clear. Yeah,
right. It became more clear, and it became more. That's just how it ran. So that's just how you kind of go into it. I was like, I've been in the streets, so I know when stuff looks shady.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I started seeing stuff like that, and then I started seeing how drill sergeants were. I had a drill sergeant call me into the office one morning. Williams, I want an unopened can of apple skull dip slid underneath this door in the next 5 minutes, or I'm coming out there and I'm tearing open every locker, flipping over every goddamn. I was a Roger, drill sergeant. So I go outside, toe the line. I was like, check this out. Drill sergeant said he gonna come out here and flip our bunks. He gonna go through whatever the terminology was, right? And it was a locker party or something like that. Mm-hmm. He's gonna have a locker party if we don't give him an unopened can of skull dip. Now listen up, guys. I want you to, before I even finish that sentence, all you hear is shh, like 4 of them slid up there. I was like, whoa, wait, hold on, wait.
Got it.
Shit. I just need one. And I like walk over to the door, and there was just enough room under his door to slide one through.
Yeah.
And I just, and the other sergeant that was in there was cracking. I was like, I told you he's going to have it. It was hilarious, dog.
All right. Geez. All right. We had this thing, it's kind of an event. Every night when you're on a ship, once the sun goes down, we have to do this thing called darken ship.
Ooh, that sounds romantic. Can we some mood music? This is why we got to have everything set up. We throwing some mood music right here. And
No. So we have this thing called darken ship. The point of that is when you're a ship and you're on the ocean, you don't really want to be visually seen, right? You don't want telescopes or eyeballs or anything to see. So when you go outside of the ship, you don't want that big bright light to illuminate outside, right? So we have darken ship where only red lights are on,
right?
Because you can't see red from a distance at nighttime,
right?
So that's a time where each division goes around, checks all their spaces, make sure the red lights are on, and everything's good. Then you go sign off on this piece of paper.
It sounds very romantic.
It's nothing to do. It's about saving lives, okay?
I bet.
We weren't throwing skull boxes or skull things underneath doors.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Anyway. No, but we had a different thing for that. So every so often we would go out and wait behind corners for somebody to walk by. That was what we called darken ship. We wait around corners, and whoever passes by, we jump them. Like we don't not to hurt them. We just tie them up. Have our.
I guess if I wasn't in combat, I'd try to fight too. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
We hit around corners, and whenever someone walked by, we'd just hug them because war is hard.
Because you got shot at just like us.
It was like, hey, you need a hug.
No, so he walked around the corner,
right,
or whoever, right? And I was told this one time where I didn't do it. They were hiding behind a corner, and this E7 salty dog, you know what I mean? Gunner's mate. He's a old salty dog.
What does that mean?
Salty dog?
Yeah,
like he's old school Navy. Like he's been in the Navy for so long.
When you said salty dog, I was thinking of like a salty hot dog, and I was like, what does that mean? It's not good for your health, or like
he was unhealthy.
His high cholesterol, or sodium levels are too high.
No, all right. He was salt, the ocean.
Gotcha.
All right. So he's been in the Navy for a really long time, right?
Okay, and so he's just like a rugged.
Yeah, not beat down, but he's Navy. You know what I mean? He's like old school.
He's all Navy,
smoking your rack type.
Yeah, he lost 2 wives to the Navy. Gotcha.
Well, I was told that they were waiting around the corner, and they saw this chief coming, and they knew who it was. And oh man, I don't know if we should do this. And he wasn't nothing but like 5'7", 5'8". I don't know how old he was. Probably in his 40s.
Right.
But he had a little bit of girth on him. He wasn't fat, but he was a broad guy. And they said he came around the corner. We jumped on him. We started running out of there soon after. I was like, what happened? So he started shin raking us and spitting on us, and like, you're not doing this right. Like, we're supposed to be jumping you.
Right.
He said, well, bring it on, then, mother, this and that. And he's one of those type of dudes. And, we would do stuff like that. And some people thought it was funny. Some people didn't, and never got in trouble.
We had moments like that, man, but it wasn't nothing like that, man. Like, there was too much, There was so much stuff going on.
Gunfire going on around you.
Like, well, at least like when we're deployed, but like when we're back in garrison or back in the rear detachment or when we're back home, and a lot of these guys like live in the barracks, because they're single.
Yeah.
And because they're single, they make them live in the barracks, and like the barracks is crazy. Like they get drunk and they be fighting and up wrestling and all that. But I was never really big on play wrestling anyway. Like,
yeah, I mean, you have to understand, I'm not that way either. I don't like people touching me. But like I said, when you're out in the ocean for a long time, you got to do something to let it out.
Yeah, like we did do we did roll. Like we did combatives.
But it was organized, and it was.
Not really.
It wasn't like a
it wasn't
thing.
like a no. I mean, we did work out every day, that type of stuff. But like as far as like just the fighting and stuff, like no, we didn't. Not on deployment, but
I'm gonna tell this story, and then I'm gonna ask you a question afterwards.
Hold on, real quick.
All right.
My boy Herrera, right, Peter. He had a taser. Like we did tase each other. Like we would sit there and see who can take it the longest. Right. I think I won. If my memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure I won. And we did record it too. Like it was on the internet for a while, but I think he took it down. Because I think we got in trouble. Well, he got in trouble for putting it up. But
that is so stupid.
Hey, man.
Teach his own.
Yeah, teach his own. Man. Don't judge me, and then I won't judge you about your romantic nights out there on Gilligan.
Fighting was involved.
Headed to Gilligan's Island or wherever you guys were floating to.
We're going in circles. All right. If we were going to Gilligan's Island, we were going around it a few times.
We were patrolling the space over the underwater sea base.
Yeah. All right. So once upon a time, promotions were coming up, right?
Right.
And
God, I hate promotions, bro.
Well, ours is different from everybody else. We have to take a test. And
like a written test?
Yeah. Like A, B, C, D, multiple choice question test.
I wish ours was like that.
Nah, it's...
You have to go to a board?
No.
See, that's what we had to do.
You don't do a board until you get to E7. Or you're eligible for E7.
You go to board as soon as you go to E5. You have to go to promotion board. I think you go to promotion board for E4 too. No, E5.
I remember we did that in ROTC where to get promoted, you had to answer a certain amount of questions.
You had to go in there and sound off. You got to do the soldier's creed. You have to do the, you got to answer the questions while you're sitting at attention.
Now, we had boards for things like Sailor of the Quarter or whatever,
right.
Of the month or whatever it is. We had boards for stuff like that.
No, we only had I hated boards, man, because like dudes would be studying for that, like, and you got to remember so much stuff, and like a lot of stuff is stuff you already should know anyway, right?
Yeah. But, how many hands?
Yeah, like how what
do you have?
What's the regulation for
crap.
Dress or for clothes and dressing and regulation with OAR 600-1, and you have to name it off and all this other type of stuff like that. But like I hated boards, man, and promotions and stuff.
Yeah. It was promotion time, and I had taken the test, and we had our evals had to be turned in before we did the test, and I don't know how y'all's evals work. Like, do you have a number after each eval? Like, your eval means based on whatever criteria set. It says for military knowledge, you receive a 4, or
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
I was pretty distant from the chain of command when it came time for them to tell us stuff like that.
All right. So I'm not getting into the specifics of grading an eval and numbers and stuff, but
so a TPS report.
So everybody has to have a number after their eval, right? And that represents that time period, right? The tests are twice a year, so for those 6 months, you get this score, this average. So you get your average, and then you take your test, and then you have to wait like 3 or 4 months before the results come out, or maybe longer. And so results are coming out, and what normally happens is they get the results, they send them to the chain of command, and then the next day they release them publicly, like on Facebook or whatever. We didn't have Facebook at the time, but they just release them publicly through whatever, So the captain got the results. And I'm like, I know I made E5. This is when I was going for E5.
Right.
I said, I know I made E5. I have to have made it. If I don't make it now, I'm never going to make it. CO gets everybody in the galley, not the galley, the mess decks, and he's reading off names. ET2 this, ET1 that, ET3 this, or FC, DC, RC, whatever. And he gets to he says FC, and I was FC. He says FC2. I'm like, yeah. And he says somebody else's name. I'm like, okay, well, he made it too. He's going alphabetical, but I just heard FC2, so I got happy. So it gets down to the W's, and my name's not called. I'm like, what the fracking, I'm pissed, like pissed. And I'm wondering, did he just ace the test or something? Like, did he really just... is he? So I was like, it can't be the eval. This guy's not a harder worker than me. He's not a worse worker than me. If anything, we got the same eval.
Right.
So you have to wait to get the results of why you didn't make it or why you did make it. You have to wait like a week or so for those numbers to be posted up. So I finally get it. I look at my score and I got 3.8.
Right.
So I asked him, I said, hey, can I see yours? So he showed it to me. His average was a 3.88. And he made it by 6 or 7 points. So basically, I looked at his test score, and his test score is lower than mine. So I'm like, how did you get a 3.88 eval and I got a 3.8? So Chief comes walking in and he says something. This Chief I did not like at all.
Right.
I to this day I believe he was racist, at least at that point.
Right.
Not because he's whatever, but I was the only non-white person.
Maybe you just didn't like your face.
Something about my face, or the tone, the hue.
Yeah, your hue is off.
Stay inside for a couple years.
Yeah.
No, he. I just didn't like him, so automatically I jumped to that. Right, I don't say it to him, but automatically in my head I'm thinking, okay, that's why. But he comes into space. I'm like, Chief, how the hell does he get a 3.88 and I get a 3.8? He says, I ain't getting nobody a 3. I gave everybody the same. I gave all you guys the same eval. So I'm like, I'm thinking, how is that? How is this possible? The only point to where we control how that number goes over from the paper that it was on to the test is we manually write it in. So I'm like, he must have upped his score on the test.
Just by a 0.08.
Dude, 0.08 is like a good 9 or 10 points on a test.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Or on your overall score.
Well, hey, he beat you. Congratulations.
Yeah. So as soon as I figured it out,
he won.
But as soon as I figured it out,
he deserved it.
I was, yeah, he worked hard for it.
He did.
As soon as I figured out what happened, I kind of shut up because I was like, I'm not about to be that guy who outs him.
Yeah, you don't want to out him.
Yeah, because as soon as I figured it out, I was like, oh. Then I just got real quiet. But my question was, have you ever experienced the chain of command possibly doing something that was considered racist?
Racist?
Yeah. In the U.S. military.
Towards other Americans?
Whatever. White to black, white to brown, black to white, whatever.
There were some guys who really hated Muslims that I worked with.
Yeah.
No love at all.
Like the terrorists or Muslims? Just Muslims? Just
Iraqis in general.
They're all the same.
They're all in the same
They're
boat.
the type that everything's the same.
Does not care.
Wow.
Kid, woman, man, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Taxpayer?
Doesn't matter. Like he like
leader of the PTA? Doesn't matter?
No.
Man.
Do they have PTAs in Iraq? Well, they should.
So, but you said Muslims. I'm guessing that means Muslim Americans as well.
No. Well, yeah, that too. But being that we were always just deployed, it was the focus was on the Iraqi people. Like me, I went over there with a bias, obviously. With all the training that we did and all the videos they made us watch. They made us watch tons of videos of like why you should not be standing up straight inside of turrets, when you're on patrol. Mm-hmm. In other words, they showed us like lots of videos of people getting shot, like sniped. And so it was like a whole bunch of psychological stuff going on too, And while we watch these videos, all you hear is the Iraqi, whoever the sniper is, or the Iraqi's buddy, like, Allah Akbar, And then so like you hear that over and over watching people getting shot, then psychologically you're like, you're making yourself the person that's getting shot. Mm-hmm. So you start building up these emotions,
yeah.
that fear-based.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, there were some guys, I don't remember. I mean, there possibly was, especially when it came to like officers.
Yeah.
What I have learned is there were racist guys that I was really cool with that knew how to hold their racism until they got drunk. And I had a dude tell me, we'll call him Eddie.
Eddie?
We'll call him Eddie, right? He'd be like, "Hey man, it's like, bro, I have no problem with black people, man. I love black people. Like you're black, I can hang out with you, no problem. I just don't want my daughter dating him."
You know what? I like the way he put it. You know what? That's fine.
He was like, I was like, what? He was like, Yeah, man, I'm saying, man, there's nothing wrong with black people, man. I'm just saying, I think my daughter should date a white man. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I'm like, I mean, I don't know how to answer that, bro. You know, like, let's just sit out the next couple of plays. Let's just turn on some music, man.
How about we just sit back and just let this happen?
Yeah, and he's one of the dudes that just super country, like ex-meth head, redneck type dude. But he was cool, man. Like, that's the thing. Like, all the dudes I was with, like, for the most part, I mean, you had your D-bags,
Yep.
You had a couple of them out there. But even then, like, I give people passes, but like, but there's some dudes that were like really cool, but like they had like, okay, here's the thing, right? So when I talked about the lieutenants, I said I think I experienced that more with lieutenants because there's a distance. There's more of a distance, right? Mm-hmm. And lieutenants, they go to college, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them go to a military college or whatever, right? Or military school or whatever. And then they come into the Army as a lieutenant. So what I've found is that the dudes who go through that way and have racism in them, it's more noticeable through them. The guys that come up through the ranks because they've been around more, they've done more footwork, they've done more grunt work.
Right.
Grunt work entails you and people of whoever other races, whatever that you're working with, having to be in close proximity for long hours of time. So by nature, you may have the racist in the military may have a general sense of racism in America,
right,
in their heart, but like with their buddies, they don't see that. They just see, the flag. They see American flag. We're all brothers.
Yeah.
But like in the civilian world,
back of the bus,
back of the bus, pal. Seats taken.
Yeah. No. I've never really, other than that one chief I was telling you about, other than him, I never really had any, not that I knew of, any contact with any racist. If they were, they hid it very well.
Yeah.
They didn't make it known. There was more black people that were who hated white people more than that I met than there were white people that didn't like black people.
Well, we talked about, we may have talked about this before, but the time I really noticed the divide in my unit was when Obama won.
Yeah.
When Obama won the presidency.
We didn't really care. We really didn't. We saw it was on the TV and the mess decks, and we were just kind of walking past it, looking at it. And I was more upset that they kept showing the old black women crying. Yeah. I'm like, they are exploiting the crap out of them.
Well, of course they are, but that's the
get the black woman, she's crying.
That's
get
the
her.
whole thing. Like, I came to work the next day, and like the black guys that worked that kept up with news and stuff like that, like they were excited. Like, yo, Obama won, man. Black dude, man, it's crazy.
Hey, man, Obama won. We good?
Like, Obama won, man. That's crazy, man. That's dope, man. But then there were also some white dudes, and this is where I'm basing my last statement off of too. This is where I really saw it. Like, a lot of the lieutenants and like captains, they were making good money. I guess I don't know how the taxes work with Obama or whatever, but they definitely were like upset that he was like, they were visibly, you could tell like they lost sleep. You could tell they didn't they stayed up all night watching like Rush Limbaugh or something. And, and just staying up all night with Hannity, trying to work it out in their minds. And I don't know what they thought was going to happen, but
how do we let this happen? Yeah. We lost our country. We're giving up our country.
Right. So,
it's ridiculous.
There was a lot of that going on, but it wasn't, it wasn't any, not that I saw. I stayed out the way though too, man. I laid low in the military.
I didn't have the pulse of everybody on the ship, but the majority from what I saw, like nobody really cared. It was we acknowledged. I mean, it was acknowledged like first half black president, half black.
Yeah,
remember?
No one says that.
Well, I say it because it's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was Obama made it, and we were like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. But that was the end of that. Okay, back to work, guys.
Back to work. Pick up the broom.
Like we're still going to be doing this job after, you know, a week from now.
Regardless of who. And, you know, and that too, like that's one of those things that made me really just dig into the, you know, the crates when I came back from my second deployment was I started asking questions like, okay, like Obama was here or whatever, but like it didn't really change anything. Like nothing really. When did Obama get elected?
2008,
right?
Yeah.
2008. So yeah, so I went on a deployment while he was a president, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't change anything. Like it sucked like the first deployment did when Bush was in office. You know what I'm saying? So like so then I was like, wait a minute. I mean, this doesn't make any sense. You know,
we were celebrating.
I'm half black. I should have got at least half of these days off. But my Obama card never came in the mail.
Yeah, my congratulations. You guys are president now.
How many times have you ever done this? Like we would be in the middle of a crappy mission, like sitting on an ID or something. Okay, that sitting on an ID means waiting. There's an ID over there.
Got it.
We put a perimeter around it and sit and wait until the explosive ordnance.
I was about to ask you, you guys sat on IEDs?
Technically, we did. Now, here's the thing, right? IEDs are made out of, like, some of them are made out of 155 millimeter rounds, like tank rounds or howitzer rounds, right? Cannon rounds.
Right.
And they take out the top and then they put whatever inside of it and fuses and all that, however they do it, right? And so we have these vehicles called CATs. And CATs are basically the vehicles that tow around all the ammunition for the howitzers. Now, inside of the CATs are thousands of pounds of explosives.
Yeah.
That we just kind of sit around and hang around. Like my buddy Burns was laying, like it was like a big bag of so with some of the charges they'll say like, oh, 3 charge or whatever, right? And it comes in like a 4 or 5 charge stack. I don't know. Right? I didn't pay much attention to that part. But they would, whichever ones they didn't use would get tossed into a bag. So that bag would just be sitting there, right? And like when my buddy was just laying on it, like just about to take a nap, I was like, I was sitting there too. It was one of those hot days. And I was like, man, we can tell people that we took a nap in a certified death machine, like surrounded by 50,000 pounds of explosives. So technically I'd be selling IEDs, right? But anyway, so we was out there, we was sitting on this IED, right? And I get on the horn, I call up, like, hey, has anybody talked to my recruiter? Because I wasn't supposed to be doing this type of stuff.
You guys need to look into my paperwork. You know, nowhere in there says I'm supposed to be doing this.
My recruiter said,
sorry, Sergeant. My recruiter told me. Yeah, that works all the time.
Well, let's talk about a recruiter for a second, man. Like,
my recruiter wasn't bad. He was a FC as well. He was pretty straight up. Like, I asked him a bunch of stuff. I was like, you know, do people normally, you know, get kicked out of boot camp? He said, look, man, some people can handle it, some people can. It's really how it's how you deal with it in your mind. Right. You know, it's not difficult. Hundreds of thousands of people have done it before you, and 100,000 more will do it after you.
That's sad.
I mean, it's the truth, you know, like just like, you know, if you died over in Iraq or if I died out in the ocean, somebody would be waiting on the pier to take my place when they got back. You know what I mean? So once he said that, I was like, you know what, man, this is, and then you watch stuff like, Full Metal Jacket, and you see the boot camp thing, and it's like this is not a personal attack towards an individual. This is just what they do,
right? You
know, it's all rehearsed, it's all scripted, it's been said 1,000 times. They don't even mean it at that point. You know what I mean? Like they just, it's on their list of things to say in their head. They just pick one at random to see if you can handle stress.
Right.
So that's really all it was. So my recruiter, he was pretty straight up about that stuff. He's like, look, man, just, you know, it's going to feel like it's hard, but it's not. You know, you get 3 meals a day, you sleep 8 hours a night, and
if you're lucky.
Well, yeah, unless you got watch or something, and you know, but he was pretty straight up with me.
My recruiter was dope. He worked with me because it took me like 2 or 3 months to be able to get in. Like, I don't know how long did it take you, like, once you talked to your recruiter?
Well, no, once I talked with him and we got everything as far as like paperwork done, that was just a matter of like waiting for stuff to come back. All together, I'd say less than a week.
Wow.
But I still had to wait months to leave. Because
but you was already set though.
Yeah, I was already. Yes. Well, nothing's set until you do the oath.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. But
you
they already had a plan for you.
Yeah, everything was all
right.
ready.
Me, it took me like 2 or 3 months just to get the waivers and all that stuff taken care of because I couldn't pass the drug test. Like I had so much drug, and like I took a whole month, where I didn't smoke anything, like I didn't do anything, like. Well, actually, it was more than a month, but
well, now wait a minute.
I had stopped doing drugs. I even stopped smoking weed, and I didn't drink or anything like that. So I just spent a month exercising.
My recruiter pissed me off. He asked me, "All right, man, look, when was the last time you smoked pot?" It's like, dude, I never smoked pot. Why you just ask me if I ever did drugs?
Right.
That kind of pissed me off.
Well, that's what they go off of.
Yeah, but it's like he sized me up and said, "Yeah, he's a weed smoking,
right,
crack snorting, shooting up the crack heroin,
the cracked heroin."
I'm like, dude, you ain't supposed to ask that because he also said, "Okay,
chasing that white dragon."
He goes, "Okay, dark hair, brown eyes," and there's the other recruiter, but hey, you're supposed to ask him what color their eyes are. I was like, somebody's listening. Somebody knows what's going on here.
Yeah. Well. Even after a month of me not smoking or doing anything, like it still was in my system because I was doing it so much, So he was like, "I don't know what it is, man. You just got to just keep sweating. You got to sweat more." I was like, "Bro, like I'm trying." And so he was cool, man. Like I had to go to court on a Monday. I had to go to court for child support. And I
remember you told me that.
I just called and talked to somebody in the recruiting station on Friday and was like, I'm gonna come in and talk to y'all. So I came in and the dude gave me his card and I was like, "Look, I gotta go to court Monday. Like they're gonna take me to jail, but I'll join the army if let's get it going." So I went to the child support court and the judge, he says, "Look, man, you're behind. Did you bring any money?" I was like, "I don't have any money, but I have this card from this recruiter. I told I'm gonna join the army. I'll be able to support my family. I just got to be able to go to basic and all this other stuff. I just need time." And she's like, "Give me the card." I gave her the card and she's like, "All right, I'm going to go call this number. And if he doesn't answer, or if he does answer and says, 'You're not joining,' I'm going to send you to jail." So I was like, "Oh, please answer the phone. Please." So sure enough, he answered it, whatever. She came back and was like, "All right, well, thank you for, going to serve our country or whatever. And good luck." And I get a call from him, like, right after I get out of the court. He's like, "I got you, Poppy. I got you now, Poppy. You use mine now, Poppy." He's a Puerto Rican dude.
Yeah.
"I got you. It's going to be good, but you're mine now. You have to do what I say now." I was like, "All right, man. I ain't tripping, man. Let's do it."
Everything I tell you, man, you have to do it, okay?
Yeah. He was a good dude, though, man. Like, he came pick me up, and he did all the stuff he was supposed to do. He helped me with the paperwork and everything. And
did you have to do any, like, training, like physical stuff? Our recruiters took us to a couple of high schools and let us run on the track and took us to
we were supposed to do that stuff, but I didn't do that, man. That's how that's how you're supposed to get the E3 thing. Like you're supposed to be able to pass.
Yeah, there's
PT
a couple of things that you had to do.
You basically got to be able to pass. You basically have to go into it being able to pass the PT test for that level or some stuff. Like there's a lot of different little things you have to do. Yeah. But he was cool, man. Like, and then like finally, like after all the waivers and stuff came through, like I was still popping hot I was like, "Man, I promise you I ain't been smoking, bro." He was like, "Man, it's still hot, man. You still hot." He was like, "All right, cause I still had to go down to MEPS. I still had to go down there and do like the actual like physical and all that stuff, the duck walk, and the push-ups, and they get you naked and, inject you with vibranium or whatever it is they do." So, he took me to HEB. We went in there and got this stuff called Certo, which is basically preservative, like stuff. Say you get apples, right, and you're trying to store your apples. Mm-hmm. Well, you get the preservative, and like you ever seen like Lisa, for instance, she has like cans of fruits that she preserves.
Yeah, okay.
You put the fruits in it, and you put the preservative in it because it keeps it from rotting or whatever, right? But if you drink it, it just kind of goes through your system really bad, and like I guess it coats your whatever. So when you urinate, it doesn't show stuff that's in your bloodstream or whatever, right? So we did that, And I pooped Jello cubes for like 2 days, like gelatin. You know,
if only the stripper in San Diego did the same thing.
Oh man, like a big Jello shot down his chest.
There you go. All right, you got any other stories, or you?
No, we're gonna get more guests. We need to get some guests on, man. Like even if next time we just call some people, let's call random buddies that are in the army, or in the military with us, or something.
Cool.
Or we can set it up. Or how are we gonna do it, man? Like we're getting ready for season 3.
Two.
So,
you gotta do season 2 first.
No,
can't just skip 2.
We'll
2's where it's at.
We'll go straight to 3 and make people like, what? Oh, we missed 2.
We're season 2.
Yeah.
You ain't get 2.
You didn't get 2?
What's the matter with you?
You should have sent in a picture of a toaster.
Yeah, we're still waiting on pictures of toasters, by the way.
If you don't send in a picture of a toaster, you're definitely not getting the link to season 2.
All right, everybody, I want to thank everyone for listening to this podcast. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, if you want to contact us, if you'd like to be a guest, especially to all of our military people, we like getting stories from all over. If you want to contact us, you can write to or email at willboyspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, THEWILLBOYS, same as on Facebook. You can catch our videos on YouTube. You can also download our episodes on iTunes and on Spreaker.com. I think that's it.
That's it, man. We got merchandise coming out soon too.
Oh, do we?
Old Mixhead got that good stuff coming out.
Yeah, buddy. Designed myself.
Yeah, man. Pretty dope, man.
All right. Appreciate everybody for listening again. I am Old Mixhead.
It's your boy, Chief.
Talk to you next time.
Hey.